This is Glenn Hughes, the voice of rock, and you're listening to Music Mania.
You ready for some screaming heavy metal? We rock!
But the evil that men do, then John,
We gonna bang your head!
You are now listening to the Music Mania podcast, brought to you by CD Warehouse in Gladstone, the #1 hard rock podcast in the Midwest, featuring hard-hitting interviews with rock's living legends. And now, here's your host, Clint Switzer.
Oh!
Jesse Camp, it's my blood brother, Clint Switzer from Music Mania, man. What's up, brother?
Clint, how are you doing?
Oh, I am great. I just, ever since that we ran into each other the other night at the whiskey, man, I've been just telling so many people that I ran into you. Everybody's wanting to hear from you. This is it. It's happening. You're on the Music Mania podcast, and life is good, buddy.
Life is fantastic, except you're going to be very upset at me over one thing.
What's that?
You remember that shipment of bath salts? It got intersected in the mail. That's why you never got it. So we are about $3,000 in the hole on that. I'm really sorry about that.
You know what? You know, life moves on, and you're supposed to be doing this interview in a loincloth anyway, so... you better be living up to that. Now, I tell you, we had a moment, you know, I'm trying to explain to people, I was like, Jesse Camp and I are outside the whiskey after the Motley Crue after party, and we're trying to recite Alice Cooper albums in order from Pretty's For You all the way up to now, and we accomplished it. You and I together did every single Alice Cooper album in order of its release. Do you remember that, doing that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, listen, I love you to death, and that was getting to meet you and your beautiful girlfriend was like the cherry on top of an amazing night, because that was one for the history books. That was such a fun night, with the whole premiere and the after party, and yes, and I definitely remember that, reciting all the Alice Cooper records. Now that it's over the phone, I mean, I guess, you know, I could cheat a little, but how about this? Really quick before we get into anything crazy, give me a band and I'll see if I can, off the cuff, off the dome, do the whole discography. I can do it for Kiss. You want to hear that real quick?
I was going to say Kiss, because Kiss is a good one. They have about the same amount of albums as Alice. So yeah, let's try Kiss, of course. We'll start with the debut. It's Kiss. I'll start you off. It's Kiss. Kiss is 1974. Well, there's your start.
Wait, what if we do it together and then you do one, I do one? We trade off.
Dude, this is okay. Yes, let's do it.
So you started with Kiss, Hotter Than Hell.
Dress to Kill.
Alive.
Destroyer.
Rock and Roll Over.
Alive 2.
Love Gun, then Alive 2.
Alive Gun, and then Dynasty.
Well, Double Platinum, the solo albums, Dynasty.
No, we can't.
And then
Unmasked. Music from the Elder.
Creatures of the Night.
Look it up.
No, I fucked up Killers, then Creatures of the Night.
Then look it up.
Animalized.
Asylum.
Crazy Night.
Hot in the Shade.
Smashes and Hits, and then Hot in the Shade, and then I believe
Revenge, and then I guess I'll go Alive 3.
The tribute album, Kiss My Ass, and then I get that Carnival of Souls.
And then, of course, the reunion album, Psycho Circus.
And okay. Then it gets a little confusing. I think there was a Gene Simmons solo album, Asshole, Paul Stanley, Live to Win, maybe Kiss, Alive 4, The Symphony, but then Sonic Boom.
And then Monster. And we're done. We're out. We did it.
Almost, except that I have breaking news. I'm producing the final Kiss album right now.
I'm sorry? What?
Yeah. I've been in the studio with the guys in between dates on the End of the Line tour and End of the Road tour. And, there's a brand new Kiss album, and Tommy Thayer is going to sing lead on 3/4 of it.
this is breaking news indeed. Tommy Thayer's going to sing lead on 3/4 of it?
Yeah, I mean, we were like, Paul, please, like, but I guess, Tommy's just really feeling his oats as a vocalist. Clint, I'm going to stop being silly. I would love there to be another Kiss, studio album, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
No, I think in this musical climate, a lot of bands such as Kiss, they're comfortable to write off and on what they have, and that's fine because new music is hard to come by. As you found out, we're going to just jump around. This is a different kind of an interview for me because usually it's very structured. I have John 5 on last week. We talk about the Creatures, his new album Invasion, the new Rob Zombie tour. But with you, Jesse, you're just you're like my friend, so you're just all encompassing here. But let's talk about your album. Jesse, was it Jesse Camp in the 8th Street Cool Kids?
Yeah, pretty much. Jesse Camp in the 8th Street Pool. It was POOL Kid.
And this was like in the height of kind of your MTV fame, and like this was an album that I thought using the forum of MTV and being so noticed on there, and you had some great guest stars on it. I believe you had like Stevie Nicks, Rick Nielsen, Steve Hunter.
Absolutely.
This was great stuff. What were you satisfied with how that went? I heard rumors that they kind of made you sing in like the Jesse Camp VJ voice, and that you wanted to sing normally because you actually can sing. Is that kind of what happened?
Oh, that's a really good question. Well, I gotta totally come clean with that. The MTV voice, and I really didn't even kind of realize it at the time, but was me kind of doing an exaggeration of my own voice, which on its own, just naturally, I kind of sound like if Bobcat Goldthwait and Perry Farrell were locked in an elevator together, But but what I was gonna say is that so I kind of. I think the thing of it is that I really hadn't expected to win that contest, and that was really like a 0 to 60 kind of experience. And this also was way before. This was like a year or two before the first season of American Idol, and so it was kind of like a unique situation. It was almost like one of the first reality competition kind of shows, and so I was a grateful guinea pig in it. But I think looking back on it, that once I had won that contest, it was kind of a mind fuck. I'm just like, wow, I kind of was like, what is it everyone was really responding to about me? And so then I kind of just amped up sort of my natural stoner persona. And but as far as the record goes, though, I mean, I was creating a character and a vibe that I really, really believed in, and I would say that as far as vocals, I was always really into. I tell you that my favorite vocalists back then are still my favorites now. I really always was a huge disciple of Steven Tyler and the way that he would have his rhyme schemes, and a huge fan of Peter Wolf from the Jake Isles Band, and I was always way into that live album, the Blow Your Face Out, where, Peter Wolf would do this whole thing about, this whole monologue about, I'm watching the Tonight Show going into the Tomorrow Show and the blah, 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 and the hip-hop, and the stuff to say, all that kind of fast, kind of crazy talk, and also a huge fan of Alice Cooper, and what I'm getting at is, and then Jeff Keith, too, for his rasp and kind of hippity-bop. By the way, I okay. I'm gonna get out of traffic for a moment because I just had a police officer. I was being responsible. I was talking with a handheld free device. But anyway, you know what I'm saying. We're gonna have a good talk. It's best not to be in traffic. But okay. So I guess, long story short, there are definitely things about that album I would totally do differently now. Like the Stevie Nicks song, "My Little Savior," is a really cool song. But I'm sort of singing, definitely kind of singing with the focus on kind of still being in the Jesse Camp character, and I know that also sounds so weird to talk about yourself in the third person. I was gonna say that I have a new, like a lot of new material and a new single that isn't out yet. But if you text me, your email, I'll get it right to you.
Yes.
So you can kind of hear it because over time, you just kind of find your own voice and because it was really just such a crazy experience to kind of go from having just graduated high school really only like 9 months ago back then to I didn't just get my GED. What I meant to say is that when I was on MTV and making that record, I was like 6-9 months out of high school, and so I was definitely still discovering who I was as a person. And so, definitely vocal-wise, you're definitely kind of hearing a crazy kid kind of playing up his stoner antics with some kind of Peter Wolf rapping thrown in there. But it's a really, really, really cool record. I think it was also kind of like ahead of its time in a way, or behind the time, but it was just out of time. But I'm going to zip it because I'm answering 20 questions at once, and
I love it.
You're a fantastic interviewer, Clinton. So I will answer the questions directly rather than going on the letter F while we're only on A and B.
No, I love it. I told you this is a different kind of interview. You're my buddy. We're just talking. Like, this is great because normally it's so structured, like I said. But no, you're driving right now, and I was just wondering if you were driving.
No, I'm not driving at all. No.
I thought you were driving Uber Jalopy.
Oh, you saw that? That's pretty funny. I thought that was just a stupid, funny sketch I made with my friends, but I mean, I thought it was just kind of funny because I was in the middle of moving a bunch of shit, and that car was like looking like such a fucking like a hobo machine, like that. It was just hilarious because I got a really kind of funny story with that. I mean, so that was just like a funny thing I would do, like. When you're driving around LA, you always see people like, just waiting maybe at a bus stop or just on the street or just whatever. And so I think it's hilarious just to pull up to them and be like, Uber Jalopy, and just because it confuses them. They don't know, because everyone is waiting all around for like an Uber or a Lyft or something of some kind. So it's just really fun to catch people off guard and, just drive up to them with a really junky car and be like, did you order Uber Jalopy? No. And Uber Jalopy, I think it would be like for 50 cents, you know what I mean? You get to go in a car that is probably not made before 1990 and definitely, would not pass any kind of road test if it had to. I don't even know how it got registered in the first place. That would be the Uber Jalopy.
I wish that I'd have known that was available. I took an Uber home. It was like $15 from the whiskey back to Beverly Hills. If I'd have known there was Uber Jalopy available, we would have just kept partying the rest of the night. We would have 50 cents could have got us a long way, Jesse.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, listen, for 50 cents, Uber Jalopy is so the way to go. Because I was also, it was just like when Uber started, it was just Uber, and then they like started adding all these different Ubers, like Uber X, or like Uber Town Car, or like Uber with yogurt, and you're like, Uber with yogurt, and they're like, yes, you get a free complimentary Dannon, and you're like, what? I mean, it was, so I just thought like, okay, maybe like Uber Jalopy, like, like the really ghetto Uber. But I have a really, really funny story about that. So I had all crazy things. I had like this big pickup truck that I was borrowing like in December, and this was just a little after like all the fires in Malibu. And so I had like a truck full of like three crazy guys in the back and then one girl. And we were like going to shoot this for this whole other project, just like this music video outside of this out of my friend's house because like part of the house had burned down in the fires, and so but it looked really, really, really cool. And anyway, what I'm getting at is so that we were in this. We were about to go up to the house, and we were just getting some stuff from like the grocery store there in Malibu. And I saw this kind of like serious guy walking out of the grocery store. And I pull up to him like it's this pickup truck, like we're jam packed with all this crap and people in the car. And I roll down the window. I'm like, Uber Jalopy, You know what I mean? And the guy's like, Uber Jalopy, what are you talking about? And then I looked and I realized, oh my God, that's Emilio Estevez. So then I immediately was like, oh, yeah, totally kidding, just kidding. But this is like, you know, the vibe was like, you know, Malibu was maybe like 2 weeks after all these fires. And so he was really somber. And, you know, he and the girl whose house we were going to kind of got into this, like, you know, like a Malibu conversation about just, you know, how the perseverance of the community. But he was talking about how, like, the fires had come within, like, 2 or 3 feet of his house and how grateful he was. But it was, and so, yeah, but I mean, like, doing that Uber Jalopy thing almost got me in trouble with the fucking repo man, you know? So I haven't, ever since that thing with Emilio Estevez, I've cooled it on the pulling up to random people and asking if they ordered an Uber Jalopy. But
I'm such a fan, brother. You know what? I think I have a 2004 Ford Taurus myself, so I'm going to start driving Uber Jalopy here in Kansas City. Now I got to ask you, because you know when I first saw you there, I was like, Jesse Camp. I saw you outside the whiskey, and you look like Jesse Camp. Like, you got the hat, you got the outfit, and I was like, the first thing I said to you, and you just kind of started laughing. I was like, Jesse, you were missing, and you go, yes, I was missing. Now, this was actually a big story, and it was serious, so we have to be serious for a second. Talk about last July 19th, I believe, your sister reported you missing. Kind of tell us about that, what happened, and, you know, just kind of what, fans had to be reaching out. I mean, you had at least, after it was all over, feel like people really care. They were reaching out. I mean, what was kind of the situation there?
It was an amazing, surreal experience, but all in all, I'm grateful for. Long story short, my sister and I, you know, we're each other's only siblings, and so she's always been, you know, my best friend and creative partner. And so for a lot of 2016 to 2017, I was living in New York with her, and we'd been working on making this whole new interview series, and we'd gotten really, really far with it, and I'm still working on editing it now, but you know, we had a whole lot of fantastic interviews with, like, people like Miley Cyrus, Debbie Harry, Alice Cooper, George Clinton, like a lot of really, you know, cool names. But, you know, what basically happened is that I had to come out to California to take care of some other stuff, and then my sister kind of just got off the page, and she was supposed to, you know, edit a lot of this footage, because she's a photographer and a filmmaker. And so, long story short, it just, you know, she ran into some troubles, and so, you know, I had kind of fallen into a depression because I felt like we were so close, like so on the cusp of like really doing something amazing again. So to be just totally honest and blunt, you know, I had kind of gotten into some old substance abuse problems that I really hadn't had since my 20s, but I'm just telling this all as a backstory to the whole missing thing. Is that basically I had what had happened is I had kind of gone out to like this weird area of California called Fontana, because I just really wanted to kind of get away from everyone and everything in LA, to sort of honestly just to kick the stuff I was doing and to get clean. And long story short, a couple of days prior to me doing that, like my phone died, but I was kind of like, you know, like grateful, because then it was kind of like, you know, an excuse for me to kind of like totally like unplug from everything and just really kind of get my shit together. And so basically, you know, I think that my sister had known that I had kind of been in a bit of a depressed state, and then like, you know, when no one had heard from me for like about a week or so, then I think, you know, I think my sister got really worried, and she just, you know, wrote something on Facebook just to like our mutual friends and stuff, like, you know, have you seen my brother? You know, I haven't heard from him. Our mom hasn't heard from him. You know, his girlfriend hasn't heard from him. What have you? And so, like, But how things go is that basically I have a friend of mine, this guy Jeff B. Davis, who is he's a funny man. He's an improvisational comedian on that Whose Line Is It Anyway show. And anyway, I think that he tweeted the thing my sister wrote on Facebook, and then once he tweeted that, all of a sudden, like, it took on a life of its own and spread like wildfire as things go. And so, because my sister, when she had posted, "Have you seen my brother?" You know, I don't think it really was her intention to to blow the whole thing up. But the one thing that she did is she had gotten my ex-wife to report me as see, the whole thing is I had no idea any of this was happening because I was like without a phone and kind of just enjoying it and just kind of like getting my shit together. And so but I had been reported as a missing person to the police, which again is just one thing that I think is really stupid because I'm not trying to be a jerk, but there's really hardly any situations in which getting the police involved ever turns into something good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, and it's not like the police are. Listen, I've had a car stolen once, and I kind of thought like I'd go into the to the police station and tell them, oh, my car, has been stolen. And they'd be like, what? All points bulletin. But like, they could give a fuck. So I mean, like, and it's the same thing really with like a person. But I mean, I think also at the same time there were a lot of things happening, like the Riverside County, where I technically. Or no, it was the San Bernardino County Police Department where I technically was. They're kind of like the county right next to LA, so they're starved for any kind of attention. So they were like, whoa, we have a missing E-list celebrity, maybe F-list celebrity here. And so then they were more than happy to blow up the whole thing. And it kind of just took on a life of its own. Here's the crazy thing. I didn't even realize that that all of this was going on until I was like 4 or 5 days sober, and I one of the things when you stop putting things up your nose is you can kind of get like a sinus infection, and so I had just gone to an ER to get some antibiotics for that, and so I checked in under my full first name, which is Josiah Camp.
Yep.
And then the nurse was looking at me, and she was like, "Okay, Jesse," and I was like, "What?" "No, I'm Josiah." And she was like, "Okay, Josiah." So then I get called to go to see the doctor. I'm in there. The doctor comes in with a clipboard, and he's like, "Oh, Jesse, what seems to be the problem?" And I'm like, "Wait a minute. Okay, something is way up here." And I was like, "Okay, yes, I am Jesse Camp." And then they kind of broke down the whole thing, like, "Oh my God, you were on the local news, you were on TMZ, that you were missing." And so that's how I learned about the whole thing, because when I first got on the phone, but I didn't really I hadn't put like my iCloud back in, so I wasn't getting like all these messages. And I called my sister, and I think that she was really worried that I was going to be really pissed off, because to a certain degree, I mean, I was already pissed at her for kind of blowing, a big opportunity that we'd had, and so then, to add insult to injury to make me a missing person. But the thing is that it all just came out of concern and love, and the surreal, amazing thing about the whole experience was, and I don't mean this to sound morbid or to be dark, but in a weird way, it was almost like if you died and you got to see, all the things that people were writing about you, and how many people did actually care about you. And I mean, I was, I was really, really beyond moved and beyond touched by, how many people were concerned and were worried. I mean, from just, from all kinds of friends to even, even like Nikki Sixx. I mean, you know what I mean? That was like, whoa, like all these people, like Barack Obama was tweeting about it. Like, oh my gosh, I mean, like, we got Trump, and now, National Treasure Jesse Camp is missing. This is really a tough year. Like Sasha and Malia are beside themselves. Michelle does not know what to do. I mean, Okay, that last part I am embellishing. I don't know if I doubt Barack Obama really knew about it, but but still, it was crazy, and in a lot of ways, it was actually a good thing for helping my relationship with my sister kind of get back on track because we've been really really busy now working back on the show that we were doing and getting that all edited and together, and so. Within this year, definitely I have this whole new show that's going to be kind of like a combination of sketches, a little like the Uber Jalopy, but even a little wackier, and then with interviews and all kinds of crazy travel footage. And so we're really working to get that ready for this summer. And and I was going to say, as far as music, I have a whole new single that I'm going to email you called I Don't Know Why, which is a really kind of cool song that I'm excited for you to hear. And I'm still, it's like definitely this is a good time again. And more than anything, I got to say this: there's nothing like losing your shit and kind of going on the dark side to really make you appreciate just how wonderful life is. I got to tell you, Clint, and I hope that I'm not like being Mr. Rambler.
No.
But just what I was going to say is that when you're, I'm 39 years old now, and what I was going to say is that when you're a teenager, when you're in your 20s, even into your early 30s, I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I know that I never really paid attention to what I was eating, really to my physical health, I always try to be active, but what I'm getting at is that what I've realized from all of this is that just like your physical health is something that you have to be very steadfast in maintaining and taking care of yourself, what you eat and exercising, mental health is something that you can't take for granted either, because I always was like a rubber band man, things wouldn't faze me, bad things would happen and I could bounce back pretty easy. But I think that it's just like the older you get, the more you have to be really vigilant about your mental health, and positivity is everything. And we live in a world where depression is beating around the door for everyone. And it's, not to say that this hasn't always been true with the whole history of man, and we do live in a great enlightened time now, where people can talk about mental health issues. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is that, I work very, very hard to keep myself from ever getting into a sad or depressed place where I would want to harm myself with substances that are not becoming of someone that really wants to, live their life to the fullest.
Sure.
Because, I hope I got that all out well.
Jesse, yes, and we're just, I think that you're a really good example of a person that you just clearly have such a big heart, and I'm just such a fan of yours and everything that you've done. And here we are. And I'm definitely, when we're done, I'm going to send you my email address. I got to hear the new song. And before we wrap things up, I've got to get to a couple more things, because, we were, I think what happened was we were talking about why we got off on that Alice Cooper album thing. As I was asking you, we were talking about you, the favorite artist you've ever interviewed, because I love interviewing people. I love talking to artists and making that connection, and the people that are heroes of mine. And we've had everyone from members of the Scorpions, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, and Kiss on this show, and it's a dream for me. But you, as a 19-year-old kid on MTV, had to be a dream for you. What were some of your favorite interviews?
Wow. Well, first off, Clint, I got to say that you are a fantastic interviewer. I really love your show, and you always book really, really cool guests. And you do a fantastic thing. You're a shot of adrenaline in the arm of rock and roll. And what I was gonna say is that, my God, I mean, like when I was 19, actually Motley Crue played my 19th birthday party, which was about as crazy as it can get, because the year before that, when I was just out of high school, that was when Motley Crue Generation Swine came out, and so my sister and I we befriended this band called Head PE that were like opening all these Motley Crue dates, and they were like this rap metal band, but they would always put us on their list, so we kind of like Grateful Deaded Motley Crue on that tour. But what I'm getting to is that, the first year of MTV, I got to, man, it was an insane time because, I mean, on the heavy front, Korn were just breaking with Follow the Leader. I remember being at 1515 Broadway the day Marilyn Manson debuted The Dope Show, and that was, just a heady time. And at the same time, although it's not really, heavy metal or rock related so much, also, like, when I was at MTV, that's right when the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and Justin Timberlake were breaking. And I remember my manager at the time was a guy named Charlie Stetler, and one of his business partners was a man named Larry Rudolph. And Larry Rudolph was actually my lawyer, too. He was the one that got me the deal with Hollywood Records, and then was actually amazing in getting me off of Hollywood Records without owing like $2 million. But what I'm getting at is that this man, Larry Rudolph, he was the one who discovered Britney Spears. So I remember the first time before, Baby Hit Me One More Time, Baby Hit Me One More Time.
Of course.
Baby. Before that came out, I remember when he just brought like Britney Spears up to like the MTV studios, and just meeting her, just like, this is the new girl, this is my new artist that I represent, Britney Spears, and just shaking her hand, and just to see how all those guys just like blew up like crazy, was fantastic. I really feel so grateful to have been where I was at the time as a 19-year-old. You really can't ask for much more. I mean, like, there'd be days you go to MTV and you'd have like J-Lo and Courtney Love like hanging out, in the green room, and I mean, man, just insane. I mean, like, Beyonce. Oh man, like, those are crazy times.
You interviewed Limp Bizkit. You did an interview with Limp Bizkit. I just saw that. And the Misfits. Yes, you remember the Misfits interview on the beach?
Oh yeah. I got to host this. There's some crazy. Yeah, like when I first got on MTV, and they were doing like they're broadcasting from the Jersey Shore for like the MTV Summer. And so I did a show from the Jersey Shore called Lunch with Jesse, and it just happened that in New Jersey, near the beach, there was this town called Old Bridge, and there was this venue that would book like all these like great 80s metal bands, but MTV, we couldn't have them on the show as themselves because MTV was like, this was still in that weird time era when hard rock was still kind of considered taboo, and was, this is even before Behind the Music or on VH1 or any of that, but we would have like, episodes where we would have Rat on, and we'd have to play like a Fastball video or Sabotage, or no, not Sabotage, but Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys, which I don't not like, but it was just like, when that's the thing you play all the time, you get a little sick of it. But what I was going to say is that, so we would do episodes like from Sebastian Bach's house, Steve Snyder, all kinds of crazy things, and then that fall when filming moved back to New York, I ended up getting to host a show called Rocks Off, and oh my God, I mean, like the guests that we had, two that come out to mind that are no longer with us is Peter Steele of Typo Negative.
Yeah.
He was such a cool, such a sweet guy, and Joey Ramone was on that a couple of times, and I didn't know, like in '99, that he had cancer, that he was sick. I mean, but my God, he was a phenomenal guy. But I've been so grateful to get to meet and interview all kinds of people for this new show that I've been working on. And again, I'll send you stuff from it.
Yes.
That's not out yet, but will be. Like, I got to do this awesome interview with George Clinton, and I didn't know him in the MTV days, but I mean, he's one of those guys that's just, oh my God, there's no words for his level of coolness, and he's still so on it, and still so bright and sharp as a tack. And I really think that the key to not getting old is never losing your passion and never thinking that you know everything, and always wanting to learn and keep on it. And I think that's, you know, people that are constantly, that you keep that positivity, you keep that passion, and, you know, you really can stay young forever. I mean, there's no reason why, you know, we can't all be Willie Nelson. Well, I mean, genetics to a certain degree, but what I mean is that I guess what I'm trying to get is that I met a lot of people back when I was like 19 or 20. Amazing experiences, but the people that I meet now, when I'm 38 or 39, I feel that I'm able to just appreciate on a whole different level. A couple, two other artists that we have on this new show, that are really such brilliant men, Steve Earle and Graham Nash. And what I'm trying to say is that if those two dudes, they would not suffer the 19-year-old Jesse Camp. I wouldn't want them to have to live through 30 seconds of, hey, man, yo, you know, like, because what I'm trying to get at is, as much as I probably still sound like a duckbill platypus scatterbrain, you know, I'm able to ask a lot better questions and more meaningful stuff because I have so much more life experience and definitely a lot more empathy. And again, I think that the thing, listen, you know what I mean? Like humility. I'll put it this way: life, whether I like it or not, always has a great way of not humiliating me, but of keeping me humble. Because you know that's just life. You're gonna have some nights when you know you're at the whiskey at an awesome premiere, and then you're gonna have other nights when your car won't start and it's somehow in a Food for Less parking lot. You know what I mean? And so that's the yin and the yang of life. But it's a beautiful journey. And again, I would say though, to answer this question completely, Steven Tyler and Aerosmith. I got to meet them in '99, and then in 2000. I got to be part of this Aerosmith rock and roller coaster ad campaign for their I think it's in Universal Studios. I hope so. Maybe it's just Disney. Aerosmith has a roller coaster somewhere in Florida, and I got to work with Aerosmith for a couple of days on that ad campaign. That was awesome. I got to play Captain Crash in this Bon Jovi video that I don't know why it's not on YouTube, but they have this song from this album Crush called Captain Crash and the Beauty Queen from Mars, and so I got to work with John Bon Jovi for like a couple of days, and but here's the one, if I have to say the all-time awesome story from the MTV days was this. Basically, Kelly and Amy Osbourne. Amy is the sister, the daughter of Ozzy and Sharon that wasn't on the reality show, but Amy and Kelly were both humongous Hanson fans, and I, of course, was a big Ozzy fan, and so this happened before the Osbourne TV show. Basically, MTV got this great idea, hey, why don't we get Jesse to go to Ozzy and Sharon's hotel room, pick up Kelly and Amy, and then chaperone them on a trip to see a Hanson concert, and then bring them back. So that actually happened. I got to go to I can't remember the hotel, but it was a nice like Midtown hotel in New York. Meet Ozzy, pick up his daughters, and then we all went on a private jet to a Hanson concert. So meeting Ozzy and Sharon, that was that was probably the craziest. And to get to basically be with some help, and to get to, I don't want to say I was the babysitter, but they did leave two of their daughters in my care. So that's something right there, and they have become, awesome adults. But, so it has been a wild and strange trip for sure.
Oh,
definitely.
I love that. And this, you're a big influence on me. It's a lot of reason why I do what I do, because there's so few people in this business that are real and just so entrenched and passionate about the music, and that's what it's about. But okay, Jesse, I got to mention this now because you mentioned Courtney Love, and I always heard that you banged Courtney. Is that true or false?
That I named her?
That you banged her.
Oh!
Have you heard that rumor? That's a rumor everywhere.
Well, listen. Okay.
So yes, you did. You did.
But this is not back in the day. This is around. This was about 6 years ago. So this. Oh my gosh! So this was an older. We were. I am really trying to choose my words. We were a little more mature, but I cannot confirm or deny this.
Okay.
But that happened. What?
What? You know what? I don't know, Jesse. We'll just plead the fifth on that one, and I'll tell you that. I'll tell you the man
that hooked it up is a guy named Scott Lipp, who is, I believe, still her drummer. Courtney is really, really cool. My God, that woman is a boss, and she's like I'll put it this way, that whatever physical relations, you know what I mean, like that. Listen, I wouldn't want it. How do I put this? I mean, like, believe me, no one is knocking down the walls like crazy to get in a relationship with this pile of craze. But what I was going to say is that she's a super, super cool, super intelligent, just almost, the word genius gets thrown around a lot, but she's a boss. Like, she's a really brilliant woman that, like, if I'll tell you this, if anyone should have their own talk show, it would be Courtney Love, because she is, like, fast. She is, oh my God, she's a quick wit, that one, I'll tell you. I mean, like, she'll cut the shit in about 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, if you showed up there wearing a sweater vest, like, she would fucking ridicule you for it in a minute, and you'd know never to wear an item of clothing that atrocious again.
Jesse, oh my God, buddy, I tell you, we are out of time on this week's podcast, but we, you know what, I feel like, what's great about Hollywood, dude.
Listen, Clint. If you ever, anytime you want to do part 2, I'm your boy. I love you to death. Please, I'm always here. This was a blast. You kidding me?
We've got to do part 2. I would love to have you even co-host some episodes with me. We could do some interviews together, maybe down the road. That'd be cool too, man. I would love having you on here, helping me co-host just even a few episodes, doing some interviews. You're the best.
Oh, hey, I would be honored, and absolutely, without a doubt, whenever you're out here, or actually, we didn't get to it. We could tease it for next time, but I do have some great Kansas City stories on both sides, some Overland Park, but I some funny things to get into on the Missouri side that we should save for part 2.
Oh, I cannot wait. Jesse, we will absolutely make that happen. Part 2 is going to include stories about here in Kansas City. All of our listeners here and at home will want to hear that. Jesse, you're a beautiful man. I feel like we're best friends, man. We met one time and it's like we hit it off. We're best friends. You mean a lot to me, man. Let's keep in touch.
Clint, likewise, we are birds of a feather, and we were born to flock together. I will say one thing, though, I am definitely jealous about in the KC area. It's Quick Trip. Quick Trips are amazing.
Oh.
Like, I mean, for people in other parts of the country without Quick Trip, imagine like a 7-Eleven, like that's definitely on steroids. Like they're like that the whole like fountain area. I don't think there's like one type of beverage that you can't have there. And then there's like the make your own milkshake machines, and it's insanity.
Yeah, that's pretty much where I live at during the week, man. I mean, from the 64-ounce soda fountain to, I mean, gosh, now they have food and restaurants inside them. You wouldn't believe it now. It's even getting bigger. But Jesse,
they're getting posh. Definitely, they have their own like make your own sandwich areas and stuff, and like weird things on the grill. Like they've so evolved past egg rolls and hot dogs. They have like weird paninis.
Yeah, they're going to be in Beverly Hills soon, I bet. They're getting that. They're getting that posh. There'll be one in Beverly Hills in the next few years. You mark it down.
Yo, it's a Quick Trip world, and we are just living in it.
Brother, you're the best. Let's keep in touch. I'm going to send you my email address so you can get that song to us. We'll play it here on the podcast, and we'll play it on our Part 2 interview coming up, my brother.
Clint, I love it. I love you.
I love you, brother. Let's stay in touch. Be good, man. Be good. Nothing up the nose. Until the next time I talk to you, I'm going to hold you to that, okay?
The only thing up my nose will be the smell of pantyhose.
Deal. All right, man. Take her easy.
Wait. Now that did not come out how I meant it. Okay. Yo, bros before nose.
Always. Every time. Jesse, you're the best. Let's talk soon, man.
You got it. Love you, Clint.
Love you, buddy. See ya.